In this video, we are going to talk about and take a look at function docstrings. A function docstring is a string literal that appears as the first statement in a function's definition. And as we'll see, this string literal is encased with triple quotes. The purpose of the docstring is to provide documentation about what the function does, its parameters, any return values, and any other relevant information that a user might need. So as mentioned, a docstring serves as inline documentation providing useful information about the purpose and usage of a function. It also provides readability. A well-written docstring enhances code readability and will make it easier for other developers and yourself to understand and use the function correctly. So let's head over to PyScripter and take a look. Okay, I'm back over in PyScripter and I'm going to open up a new script and remove the default code. I'll zoom in a little so you can see. I want you to copy the code snippet from below this video and paste in. You should see two functions that we have called upon in the past. The first is our greet function from when we defined a function without parameters, and then our add item to list from when we defined a function using parameters. So let's take a look at what a docstring looks like. For our greet function, we'll place the cursor to the right of the colon and hit enter. We can see we are indented into our function. We are going to use triple quotes, hit enter, enter once more and hit triple quotes again. We'll then step back up into our triple quotes and we'll state the task of this function. We'll simply say prints a welcome message to the user. Then hit enter twice. We'll say args for arguments, or you can say params. Put a colon and let's do a tab. And we'll say none. It doesn't have any parameters. I'm going to hit enter twice again. I'm going to print the word returns. Hit tab again. Once more, none. It does not return anything. So by default, it's going to return none. Now I'm going to go down below our functions, step out of our functions, and I'm going to call the greet function. If I could spell it, greet. Now look what pops up. We see it has no or unknown parameters. It prints a welcome message to the user. It has no arguments and it returns none. So now we have extra information about our function. Let's do similar for our add items to list. I'll click to the right of the colon, hit enter. I'll put in the triple quotes and now I'll put in a description of the operation that happens with our add item to list function. And we'll say checks if a value already exists in a user defined list, and if the value already exists, then we simply state so with a print statement. Otherwise, if the value does not exist in the list, add it to the list and print to state the value was successfully added. Now that's quite detailed there. You might find a balance between what needs to be in that description and what the arguments and the return statements are going to cover. Then put in args, colon, and we'll tab across, say my underscore list, and I tap across again, maybe one more there as well, and give a description of what my list is, a list object. We'll hit enter and tab across. Our other parameter is new item, and we can say an object slash value to potentially add to the list. Hit enter, go back, enter again, and we'll say returns tab. At the moment it returns none, so that's true. We'll go down and we'll call our add item to list, and we can see the information that we have added to our docstring. Now let's add in a couple of return statements. So if the item is already in the list, let's remove the print function and we'll say return our string instead, and we'll do the same if we're adding the item to the list. Now let's change our description. So it's checking if a value already exists in a user defined list, and if the value already exists, then we simply state so with a print statement. So let's update that to checks if a value already exists in a user defined list, and if the value already exists, then we simply return a string indicating so. Otherwise, if the value does not exist in the list, we add it to the list and we will return a string that adding to the list was successful. Our arguments are the same, and our returns is a string based on the outcome of the function. Now I'll remove the add item list here and just retype out, and we can see that the descriptive text for our string has been updated in the docstring. Just like your inline comments, your multi-line comments, docstrings are an important aspect of properly documenting your code. It makes it easier for other users to go in and use your code or refactor your code, and it will make it easier for you to come back in a couple of years' time and not have to wonder why you created this function in the first place. In this video, we took a look at function docstrings, which are essential for code readability and documenting what the intended tasks and operations of the functions are. Make sure you get into a good habit of using docstrings when you are creating your functions.